You have been handed a phrase meant to sound like harmless, homespun wisdom, a benevolent guide to a peaceful life. Happy wife, happy life. But peel back the veneer of domestic serenity, and you expose something far colder, far more cynical. You expose a fundamental truth about human power dynamics that Machiavelli articulated 5 centuries ago. This is not advice on maintaining a healthy relationship. This is the most effective psychological tool for the transfer of masculine power and the domestication of the dangerous man ever conceived. It is a brilliant, silent coup. Stay with me as we apply the cold, unflinching lens of Niccolò Machiavelli to the modern institution of marriage, revealing how the quest for happiness is weaponized to ensure absolute, predictable control. Machiavelli, the master strategist who wrote the blueprint for political dominion, understood that power is not about what you possess, but about what you control. And the first thing a man surrenders when he embraces the doctrine of happy wife, happy life, is his sovereignty. Right now, there are millions of men, good men, successful men, who believe they are making a mature compromise, that they are investing in peace. They have no idea they are voluntarily entering a psychological prison where the keys to their ambition, their energy, and their unique purpose are held by the state, the domestic state. Machiavelli taught us that a successful ruler must manage fortune and possess virtú. Virtú is the strength, the drive, the competence required to carve your destiny out of the unpredictable world. But the mantra of HWHL demands the systemic suppression of virtú. It requires the man to stop carving his own path and start paving a predictable, comfortable road for his partner. The danger is not that the wife will be unhappy. The danger is what the man becomes in his obsessive mission to prevent that unhappiness. This system is global, ubiquitous, and crosses every border, culture, and income bracket. It thrives in every corner of the modern world. I must know, where is this psychological warfare being fought right now? Tell me the city you are listening from. Let the shadow know its terrain. The foundation of Machiavellian control, whether over a city-state or a household, rests upon the manipulation of fear and appearance. The prince understood that it is far safer to be feared than loved, if one cannot be both. Even in the domestic realm, the fear is not of violence, but of chaos. The unhappy wife represents domestic instability, emotional conflict, and the cessation of comfort. The moment a man accepts HWHL as his guiding principle, he elevates the avoidance of this instability, the prevention of her unhappiness, above all other personal, creative, or ambitious pursuits. Machiavelli taught rulers to live within their means and keep their subjects busy and happy enough to avoid rebellion. The modern man, the subject of the domestic state, is kept busy by the infinite subtle demands of maintaining the wife's happiness. His resources, his time, and crucially, his mental bandwidth are channeled away from the revolutionary thinking required to build an empire and instead dedicated to managing the delicate emotional equilibrium of the home. Every dollar spent, every hour invested, must first pass the HWHL test. Does this decision risk destabilizing the domestic order? If the answer is yes, the decision is aborted. This is how ambition is starved, not by direct prohibition, but by constant, overwhelming distraction and the enforcement of predictable utility. Consider the Machiavellian principle of appearance versus reality. The good ruler, Machiavelli argued, must appear merciful, faithful, humane, and religious. It is not necessary to be so, but to possess the appearance. Similarly, the happy home must maintain the appearance of tranquility and fulfillment. HWHL is the maintenance budget for this facade. The man may be internally screaming, his dreams may be rotting in the attic, but as long as the outward appearance is maintained, the beautiful vacations are the secure neighborhood, the social media perfection, the system is working, and the man, fearing the social shame and domestic meltdown of failure, becomes the ultimate co-conspirator in his own psychological subjugation. He defends the system because breaking the appearance is more painful than living the lie. The genius of this psychological trap is that it utilizes the man's deepest protective instincts against his own higher self. Machiavelli warned the prince against the effeminacy of peace, suggesting that comfort breeds complacency and ultimate ruin. The HWHL philosophy is the ultimate comfort blanket woven from threads of obligation and emotional security. The man trades the dangerous, glorious freedom of the battlefield, the marketplace, the lab, the creative void, for the predictable, well-fed captivity of the stable. He ceases to be the lion of virtú and becomes the fox of domestic management, prioritizing caution and predictability. Look closely at the psychology of the happy wife. Within the framework of Machiavelli's analysis of a ruler, her greatest strength, ironically, is her perceived fragility. The domestic ruler gains power not by showcasing strength, but by subtly showcasing vulnerability, thus mobilizing the man's responsibility trigger. The man feels immense pressure to prevent her downfall, her sadness, or her discontent. This constant management of the other's emotional state becomes the man's primary, exhausting duty, replacing the management of his own future. Machiavelli would nod and observe. The subject is so preoccupied with the stability of the crown that he forgets he once aspired to wear one. That Machiavelli detailed how a prince must cultivate loyalty. In the HWHL system, the man's loyalty is cultivated through the psychological hook of mutual investment. The house, the children, the shared possessions. These are the gilded chains. He cannot afford to rebel, because rebellion means the destruction of his vast, built-in investment. His identity is meticulously intertwined with the domestic infrastructure, making an exit not just painful, but akin to financial and social suicide. The cost of leaving the state becomes exponentially higher than the cost of submission. This is masterful governance. We are not discussing simple relationship compromise. We are analyzing the dark psychology of control, where one partner's subjective emotional state is leveraged as the primary lever of governance over the other partner's objective reality and ambition. The man who accepts HWHL as truth accepts that his life is merely a means to an end, the maintenance of the home's emotional infrastructure, rather than an end in itself. He becomes utility, a producer, a predictable variable, exactly what the collective societal machine needs. This transition from the dangerous individual to the useful provider is the death of what we might call the inner prince. Machiavelli wrote that a prince should always be concerned with war, its regulations and discipline. This is a metaphor for the constant struggle, the necessary growth, the relentless striving for mastery. The HWHL mandate is the declaration of domestic peace, the cessation of this personal war, and the surrender of the sovereign self for the guarantee of comfort. The result is the slow, creeping psychological atrophy of the man who chose the stability of the stable over the wild, terrifying potential of the open plain. If you recognize this blueprint of domestic control, if you acknowledge the cold, calculated strategy beneath the saccharine phrase, then declare your allegiance to reality. This declaration is the first step toward reclaiming your sovereignty. Write this in the comments. I see the gears turning. You demand the truth that others fear to speak. You seek the dangerous knowledge required for true mastery in a world designed to tame you. Secure your access to this essential understanding by subscribing immediately. This channel is not built for the herd. It is built for men who understand that profound insight is the ultimate weapon. Prove you are one of them by hitting the like button now. The betrayal runs deeper than just your marriage or your suppressed ambition. The consequences of accepting this psychological contract are catastrophic, extending far beyond the realm of domesticity and into your core survival mechanisms. The next part of this analysis will expose the catastrophic biological and financial price you pay when you outsource your happiness and autonomy. We will detail exactly why this domestic arrangement sets the stage for a fate worse than failure. You need to understand the full cost of the illusion you are currently buying. Do not miss what is coming next. The existential dread of Nietzsche and the biological determinism of Schopenhauer revealed the trap, but they only showed us the cage. They failed to outline the political system, the governing architecture, the precise rules by which that cage is maintained. The architect of this domestic prison The one who perfected the science of control within the most intimate unit of human society was Niccolò Machiavelli. You have been told that happy wife, happy life is a simple mantra for peace, a kind of domestic common sense. This is the grandest lie of modern life. Stripped of sentiment, this maxim is the single most effective tool of social and personal governance ever conceived. A miniature political treatise applied to the bedroom, the bank account, and the trajectory of a man's life. Look closely at the structure of this agreement. It requires the continuous, proactive surrender of one party's desires, the man's, to secure the fragile conditional stability of the other, the wife's. This is not love. This is a political tribute. The man is not a partner. He is the sovereign whose primary function is maintaining the emotional infrastructure of the state. Before we dissect the cold calculus of this power transfer, I need to know where this message is finding you. Are you watching this from a city that demands your ambition, a suburb that demands your conformity, or perhaps from the quiet isolation of a place far from the maddening crowd? Tell me the city you are watching from right now. The answer often reveals the kind of political battlefield you are currently navigating. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that a successful ruler must master the arts of war and peace, but above all, he must master the art of maintaining his state. The modern household, particularly one governed by the happy wife, happy life doctrine, is precisely such a state, and the man operating under this maxim is engaging in calculated, preemptive surrender. He is trading virtú for peace. Virtú, for Machiavelli, was the fierce, decisive capacity to act, the masculine drive to impose one's will upon the chaotic forces of fortuna, fate, or chance. A man of virtú takes risks, acts aggressively when necessary, and prioritizes the mission of building his empire. The HWHL maxim is designed, consciously or unconsciously, to neuter this virtú. Consider the man facing a major business decision, a risky pivot, a massive investment, a global move. The voice of virtú demands decisive action, ignoring the small costs. The voice of HWHL, however, demands consensus, stability, and the maintenance of the present, comfortable equilibrium. Every potential action that involves risk, which is to say, every action that could lead to greatness, is first filtered through the political calculus of domestic disturbance. Will this disrupt the peace? Will this make her unhappy? Is the cost of her unhappiness worth the potential gain? The successful Machiavellian ruler understands that it is safer to be feared than loved, if one cannot be both. The modern HWHL man operates on the reverse principle. He attempts to secure his position through constant appeasement, betting everything on love, or rather, emotional peace. But Machiavelli warned that love is fickle. It is held by a chain of obligation that can be broken at any time for the slight advantage of others. Fear, however, is maintained by a dread of punishment that never fails. In the domestic realm, the man who lives by HWHL is the one ruled by the fear of chaos. He is not afraid of physical punishment, but he is terrified of the withdrawal of emotional capital, the disruption of routine, the cold silence, or the explosive conflict that follows non-compliance. He pays the tax. He sacrifices his free time, his risky ventures, his authentic desires to avoid the domestic revolt. This is the psychological brilliance of the maxim. It transforms the man from a leader into a manager of compliance. His success is measured not by external achievement, but by the internal temperature of his home. He is constantly managing perception. Machiavelli taught that it is unnecessary for a prince to possess all the good qualities, but it is highly necessary to appear to possess them. The HWHL man must appear content, fulfilled by his role as provider and stabilizer, even if he feels the death of his ambition internally. He must hide the signs of his struggle, the hunger for something more, because the stability of the state, the marriage, depends on his projected image of happy subservience. The moment he stops prioritizing her happiness, the moment he puts his virtú first, the political structure destabilizes. The cost of divorce, the potential loss of children, the financial ruin. These are the strategic checks and balances that enforce the HWHL agreement. The man is, quite literally, held hostage by the accumulated investment he has made in the marriage, children, and her house, shared history. He is forced to comply, not because he loves the maxim, but because the cost of rebellion is too high. This dynamic introduces a profound vulnerability that Machiavelli would have ruthlessly exploited: the dependence on fortuna controlled by another. The prince must master fortune, but the HWHL man has made his peace, his stability, dependent on the unpredictable emotional state of his partner. He has willingly placed the rudder of his life's direction into hands that prioritize domestic harmony over his personal destiny. His power is illusory. The moment his partner's happiness wavers, his entire life structure becomes unstable. Think of the insidious slow death of the man's ambition. He once planned to write the great novel or launch the groundbreaking startup. Now, those ambitions are relegated to one day. That one day never comes because the political demands of the domestic state are infinite and continuous. There is always a bill to pay, a social function to attend, a conflict to resolve, all of which require the immediate deployment of his resources, his time, his money, his emotional energy, to maintain the prerequisite of peace, the wife's happiness. This brings us to the core Machiavellian technique at play: calculated alienation from self. When a man constantly subordinates his own judgment and ambition to the emotional comfort of another, he loses the ability to discern his own needs. He stops hearing the authentic voice of his virtú. He internalizes the domestic agenda as his own, achieving what philosophers call false consciousness. He genuinely believes that the long stupidity Nietzsche described is actually wisdom. This domestication is celebrated by society because the married, conforming man is the ultimate political asset. He is a predictable taxpayer, a reliable consumer, and a non-threat to the established order. He is too busy paying the mortgages required to sustain the happy wife apparatus, to build a parallel system or launch a rebellion. He has chosen convenience over conquest, comfort over creation. The cold truth is that the HWHL maxim is not about mutual respect or equilibrium. It is a political strategy designed to maximize the stability of one party, the wife and the family unit, at the expense of the virtú and potential greatness of the other, the man. It ensures that the man's immense energy is always channeled inward, reinforcing the established domestic structure rather than outward, disrupting the established world order. This control system is almost unbreakable because it is self-enforcing and self-justifying. If the wife is unhappy, the system immediately blames the man's non-compliance, forcing him back into line through guilt and the threat of instability. The man is trapped in a feedback loop where his only measure of success is the absence of conflict, not the presence of achievement. We must recognize the difference between genuine partnership, which multiplies power, and political subjugation, which divides and controls it. A partnership that honors virtú requires both parties to uphold their highest selves, encouraging and even demanding the pursuit of individual excellence. The HWHL dynamic demands the opposite. The man must consistently lower his standards of ambition to meet the baseline requirement of domestic peace. The most dangerous man in the world is the one who understands these political dynamics and refuses to participate in the charade. He is the man who recognizes that the most critical principality he must govern is himself. He understands that genuine peace must come from internal stability, not external appeasement. He is the man who chooses the path of magnificent solitude, or selects a partner who understands that the empire is built outside the walls of the home. The journey toward reclaiming your political sovereignty demands ruthless self-honesty. It requires you to look at your life through Machiavelli's lens and ask, who truly holds the power in my state, and what price am I paying to maintain this fragile peace? If this analysis has resonated with the deepest understanding of your own reality, if it has uncovered the layers of political calculation hidden beneath the veneer of sentiment, you need to make a public declaration of your intention. Write in the comments a phrase that embodies this new Machiavellian perspective on power and peace. A phrase that declares your focus is on self-governance above all else. Type, I prioritize the empire. Show the world your commitment to reclaiming your political will. This is not the end of the inquiry. It is merely the recognition of the system. To survive this political landscape, you must arm yourself with every piece of hidden knowledge. Subscribe to this channel and affirm your connection to a network of individuals who refuse to be tamed. Like this video to reinforce the signal, ensuring this crucial knowledge reaches others who are ready to see the mechanism of their own control. We have exposed the trap, and we have identified the political rules of the domestic game. But what is the counter-strategy? How does the dangerous man reclaim his power? Not through rebellion, but through superior, Machiavellian calculation. In the next part, we pivot from diagnosis to implementation, revealing the calculated techniques for transforming your current vulnerability into unshakable personal sovereignty. You are about to learn how to change the rules of the game entirely. Ours securing your true freedom and unlocking the next phase of your becoming. The most dangerous man is the one who chooses comfort over conflict. We have spent the last 2 parts dissecting the mechanism of the happy wife, happy life paradigm, revealing it not as a romantic sentiment, but as a sophisticated socio-domestic contract designed to tame the powerful individual. We have shown that this isn't about love. It is about leverage. But now we arrive at the chilling climax, the point of no return where the Machiavellian husband must face the consequences of his choices, or lack thereof. This final phase is where perception solidifies into reality, and where the prince who chooses peace over power signs his own abdication. This journey demands absolute clarity. If you are still watching, you understand that power dynamics are eternal, and the domestic sphere is merely the smallest principality a man must govern. You are here because you refuse the deception of the herd. Tell me right now, where in the world are you tuning in from? What city is the backdrop to your fight for self-sovereignty? Let the comment section mark the locations where dangerous men are choosing to understand the harsh realities of power, rejecting the comfortable lie. In his essential text, Machiavelli laid out the ultimate dilemma for any ruler. Is it better to be loved or feared? We discussed how the modern man attempts a catastrophic third option, being liked, being domestically approved of. But Machiavelli's brutal conclusion must now be applied to the marital state. If you cannot be both loved and feared, it is far safer to be feared. Do not mistake this for literal physical fear, which is contemptible and weak. The fear Machiavelli speaks of is the fear of consequence, the absolute respect for the ruler's boundaries, his vision, and his unwavering sovereignty. When a man adopts the HWHL philosophy, he systematically dismantles this healthy, necessary fear. He trades his principality for a domestic truce. Think of the man who consistently acquiesces to minor demands, the financial decisions, the social calendar, the allocation of his time and energy. Each small surrender is interpreted not as kindness or love, but as weakness. This is the death by 1,000 cuts. The man seeking peace above all else invites the very conflict he dreads, because, as Machiavelli warned, men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, and avaricious. They will respect and obey only as long as they believe you have the power to enforce your will. The moment the wife realizes she holds the ultimate veto power over the man's goals, time, and sanity, the structure collapses. The fear is gone. What replaces it? Contempt. And contempt, Machiavelli asserts, is the deadliest enemy of the prince. Contempt arises when the subjects, or the spouse, see the ruler as effeminate, irresolute, or cowardly. The HWHL man, desperate for approval, avoids necessary confrontation. He swallows his displeasure, sacrifices his vital projects, and attempts to purchase domestic tranquility with his personal potential. This is the definition of irresolution. He forfeits the right to command respect because he has demonstrated he is incapable of commanding himself. Machiavelli would view the happy wife as merely a strategic objective, not a moral imperative. A prince ensures the stability and contentment of his people only because a content populace is less likely to rebel. If the wife's happiness is the primary metric, and that happiness requires the man's self-castration, the prince has mistaken the means for the end. He has allowed the stability of the state to require the destruction of the ruler. This brings us to the inevitable climax, the crisis of necessity. The prince understands that when the state is in peril, he must act decisively, often cruelly and always in his own self-interest. He cannot be bound by promises or perceived virtue if those ties lead to his ruin. The HWHL man operates on the opposite principle. He is perpetually bound by the unspoken promise of domestic harmony, even when that harmony is actively sabotaging his external sovereignty. Look at the successful, powerful men who maintain their drive while married. They do not operate on HWHL. They operate on a modified Machiavellian rule. The state's safety is paramount. Their state is their mission, their legacy, their core self. They ensure domestic stability only to the degree that it supports their primary mission. When there is a conflict, they are capable of necessary cruelty, the hard choice to prioritize the empire over the immediate, fleeting emotional needs of the spouse. The average man, however, is terrified of necessary cruelty. He is terrified of saying, "No, this project is more important than that social event. No, my need for solitude and focus trumps your anxiety about being alone." This refusal to assert his own necessity is the refusal to rule. The final deception of the HWHL model is its insidious shift from partnership to paternalism. The man, having surrendered his agency, is treated like a large, useful child, loved for his utility, but never truly respected as an equal sovereign. His decisions are vetted, his energy is allocated, and his life purpose is redefined to serve the household economy. He becomes the domesticated workhorse, praised for being a good provider while his soul starves. Machiavelli understood that power is not given. It is taken and maintained through relentless vigilance. The prince cannot rest on his laurels. The instant he relaxes his grip, rivals, both external and domestic, will test the boundaries. If a man believes his marriage is safe because he is nice, he has fatally misunderstood human nature. Safety is the byproduct of perceived strength, not demonstrated compliance. Consider the man approaching 40. His greatest achievements lie in the past, before the tightening of the domestic knot. He looks at his life and sees that every grand ambition has been systematically downsized, rationalized away, or replaced by responsible duties. This is the man who wakes up one day realizing he is not ruling his life. He is administering someone else's. This realization is often mistaken for a midlife crisis, but it is, in reality, the awakening of the buried prince lamenting his self-inflicted exile. The Machiavellian conclusion is unequivocal. A ruler must prefer to be feared rather than loved, if he must choose. In the domestic context, this translates to prefer to be respected for your unwavering dedication to your own purpose, even if it creates temporary friction, rather than being loved for your compliance and malleability. The modern trap is set with velvet ropes, not iron bars. The man walks willingly into the comfortable cage, trading his dangerous potential for predictable approval. He is not overthrown. He abdicates. And in Machiavelli's world, the deposed ruler, stripped of his power and wealth, earns only the pity and contempt of those who once depended on him. To reverse this trajectory, a man must reclaim his domain. He must identify the areas where he has forfeited sovereignty, his finances, his time, his physical space, and most importantly, his vision, and take them back, not violently, but with the cold, unrational necessity of a ruler correcting his course. This reclamation will not be met with applause. It will be met with resistance, manipulation, and emotional distress. This is the necessary conflict that precedes the return to power. The man who flinches here has chosen the slow death of the pawn. The man who stands firm chooses the difficult, solitary path of the prince. You must be the final arbiter of your life's direction. You cannot outsource your sovereignty to the emotional comfort of another person and expect to maintain the respect necessary for a powerful existence. Happy wife. Happy life is the anthem of the pawn. Power must be your anthem. Self-sovereignty must be your decree. The choice is absolute. Do you accept the lie and continue the long, slow, comfortable walk to becoming contemptible? Or do you embrace the difficult, necessary confrontation required to reclaim the throne of your own life? If this final, devastating truth has forced you to confront your own state of governance, your own internal Machiavellian choice, I demand that you mark your stand. In the comments below, declare your allegiance by writing the phrase, "I choose sovereignty." When you choose sovereignty, you choose to learn, you choose to grow, and you choose to reject the common fate. Hitting the like button and subscribing to this channel is not just an endorsement. It is a commitment to accessing the hidden knowledge that the herd actively tries to suppress. Join the ranks of those who understand that power is not luck. It is studied, practiced, and earned. And while the domestic sphere is one battlefield, society has many others designed to keep the dangerous man asleep. The next revelation will peel back yet another layer of engineered reality, exposing the subtle, terrifying ways the modern world harnesses your natural drives against your ambition. We are going deeper into the matrix of control. Do not miss the next transmission.